Alright guys, it's Casey with Wire Everything. I'm back to show you another product, and this one's kind of exciting. It's not just limited to Mustangs. I have one of these kits in my 2015 Taurus SHO, which is a 3.5 liter EcoBoost platform. And what this is a fuel pump wire upgrade, and it's plug and play. So why do you need a fuel pump wire upgrade? Well, you have a fuel pump in your car that draws anywhere from 20 amps on up, and if you've upgraded the pump, it can draw much more than that, and it's doing it through a 12 gauge wire. So it's drawing all of that current through a 12 gauge wire that's run from your interior or underhood fuse box all the way through the car, and it goes to the back of the car to supply the fuel pump, and you've got roughly 20 foot of this 12 gauge wire to supply anywhere from 20 to 40 amps. And why do I say 40 amps? Because some of you have added a booster pump, and you've noticed a lot of these booster pumps come with a fuse that replaces your original fuel pump fuse to a larger diameter fuse, which is totally not safe. It is capable of burning up your stock wiring, and we've seen it happen, especially in 2011 and 2012 GT500s, which have just one 12 gauge wire for two pumps, whereas normally there's one circuit per pump. But Ford, in their infinite wisdom in that specific year model, decided one wire was going to get it cut, and that's why companies like Kenny Bell were supplying a brass link instead of a fuse, which was a terrible idea and did in fact burn up some cars' wiring. So what have we got? We've got an 8 gauge wire. It hooks straight to the battery up front, or it can go to the main power stud on the underhood fuse box. It's dealer's choice. Straight to the battery is most ideal. It has a 40 amp fuse to accommodate that booster pump. And this fuse is safe even if you're not using a booster pump, but you can drop it down to whatever the factory size is if you wish. It's a standard maxi fuse, so you can get these at AutoZone or O'Reilly's or even Walmart, anywhere you can buy a normal automotive fuse. So it's just like installing an amplifier kit that you would do for any car stereo or subwoofer or whatever. And it's that simple. So you run the power wire and you connect it to the battery. You run it all the way to the back of the car. So in the Explorers, in the SHOs, in the Mustangs, in the F-150s, wherever your fuel pump driver module is where this relay is going to end up living. And this relay is automatically triggered by the kit. So it is 100% plug and play. Once you find your fuel pump driver module, you're going to unplug the car from it. This connector represents the car. We're going to plug in our fuel pump wiring upgrade, and then we're going to plug the car back into it. Make sure everything clicks right, and it's that simple. Once you've run the power wire and you've connected this and mounted your relay, we're done. We have full support for the battery or fuel pump driver module, coming straight from the battery for the fuel pump driver module, and in turn, which powers the fuel pump. So now your fuel pump is not competing with the rest of the circuits in the car for its amperage. It's getting it straight from the battery. So your booster pump, your upgraded fuel pump, whatever, is no longer having to fight a 12 gauge wire for up to 40 amps of current. You would never install a car amplifier with a 40 amp requirement and use 20 foot of 12 gauge wire. It would literally melt. So this allows the fuel pump driver to get full current, full amperage, supply all of that to the battery. Going all the way back to the 3-valve days, we saw a 10% reduction in fuel pump duty cycle just from this wire upgrade, and that's a huge deal. So that's 10% more headroom. So for, let's just say, a 100 horsepower car, that's 10 more horsepower of headroom, and you can extrapolate from there. A 500 horsepower car, that's 50 more horsepower of headroom if 500 was our limit. So it's super straightforward to install. It works on any Ford platform with a fuel pump driver module that looks like this, so it's not limited to the Mustang. And the more time passes, I'll be able to update the compatible vehicle list, and we'll get that on the website. It gives you a 50 amp fuse, or a 50 amp relay, excuse me, that you're not going to have to worry about burning up because it's overrated for the job. We've got 8 gauge power cable comes straight from the battery, 40 amp fuse, we talked about that, and it grounds through this harness. So a lot of companies that build this kind of stuff are going to be lazy, and they're going to give you a little ring terminal that hangs off this relay that you have to find a place to ground, sometimes making a hole in your vehicle. I've taken the time to run the ground back into this plug and play harness, so the only connection you're making to the car is the power cable. Once you get to the trunk and plug everything in, there's no additional connection. There's no little ring terminal with a ground that you have to ground for the relay to work. It is truly plug and play. So you unplug the fuel pump driver module, you plug this harness in, you plug the car back into the harness, make sure everything clicks, nice click, it's not going to come apart, and you're good to go. And this gives you a good reduction in fuel pump duty cycle. It gives the fuel pump driver module the support that it needs in order to perform at its best. And it ensures that you don't burn up your factory wiring doing things that Ford never intended, like adding a booster pump, which is an amplifier, to your fuel pump circuit. And you can run a much larger pump. This would totally support up to a 525 Walbro, which is a Hellcat pump. A lot of guys like to modify their hats and drop those in there. Well, if you do that with stock wiring, you're going to be in trouble. It's going to burn it up. So this keeps the car returnless. You compare this with our Dash 8 fuel line upgrade, which is plug and play for the SHO and the Mustang, and those can be made for other applications. You just got to reach out. But I thought I'd share this with you guys and let you see some of the other products that Wire Everything has. And remember, these aren't limited to Mustangs. They are mostly Ford products, but any vehicle that uses this fuel pump driver module and has the power wire in the #1 position is going to be able to use this harness. So thank you for checking this out. I appreciate your support as always. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe wherever you're watching this video, and help me keep these things coming to you guys, and keep the prices where they need to be, and keep these cars on the road. Let's make some power.